Hello everyone and welcome to the inaugural Wargaming Coven video. Today we have something a bit exciting. About twice a year, generally, Mantic Games do a crazy box. One's usually in the summer, around time of their open day, and the other runs up around Christmas. And generally, it's a really good way to get a lot of cool stuff for a lot less money than it would normally cost. And Mantic aren't exactly the most expensive company in the first place anyway. So something that was new this year, or this Christmas, was a pure sci-fi box, and that's what we have right here. Now this box costs £25, and all the contents are purely from the sci-fi games, so that's Warpath, Deadzone and Dreadball. There is a normal crazy box which also includes things from the fantasy Kings of War. The first sprue we have right here is the Orcs Grunt command sprue. Now, this is quite neat. You get two guys on here. Let's focus that in there. They have slightly more ornate armor than the what you'll find in the Orc sprue, typically, especially with these center points here on their armor, nicely molded detail. There's tons of detail in there. Something you'll notice about Mantic's Marauder Orcs, they're more normally proportioned, which I think makes them look really quite interesting. I actually have, for Warpath, an Orcs army, I've got quite a few of these grunts, which are the assault unit, and also one Raptor, so on the transport vehicles. You get quite a few special weapons on the sprue. This right here is the Ripper Talon, and you can give that to the squad leader. Basically, he'll lose one attack in combat, but gets a huge level of crushing strength and vicious, which lets him reroll, which, to be honest, they hit on 4s anyway. Losing the attack and gaining vicious is sort of a muchness, but the crushing strength is just crazy, so that is always a good thing to take. And for the special weapons guy in the squad, you can have 3 different options. You've got your rocket launcher, your anti-tank gun here, but you can also give him a machine gun, which you could probably use that for, or a flamethrower. And you could very easily put a few modifications onto this guy to turn it into a flamethrower. You know, put a few hazard warning labeled canisters attached to it. It wouldn't be a big task. It's got some cool invents on the side there. So overall, I generally tend to prefer not to take the anti-tank guns on the... You only get one shot, and with their 4+ hit modifier, I'd much rather take the machine gun. That's pumping out 5 shots at good range, or you've got the flamethrower, which is a saturation weapon, so it's not affected by modifiers, which, you know, long range starts to hurt these guys. And what I tend to do is, when I have small, maybe 5-man teams or even 10-man teams, I might take the machine gun, purely because they are that much less likely to reach melee. But when it comes to the larger blobs, you know, your 20-man units, then I tend to go for the flamethrowers. There's also, of note, this really cool communications device, and the blade's quite nice. These guys are generally fielded in units of 5. You can't use them as is like this. So, but fortunately, you can buy the troops through, and it's only like, I don't know, £1.99 or something. It's taken a unit. But what I might do with these guys, my main army is Vermin, and I've got 2 Night Terrors, which are the big monster guys. I'm thinking possibly using one of them to sort of differentiate the models and use him as like a casualty, and another one I might actually put on my Raptor vehicle, like as some crazy hanger-on, because their vehicles are transport vehicles. They all have transport capacity. Maybe the guy with the rocket launcher, that might look kind of cool. But yeah, so that's the first thing. Put that to one side. And next we have a range of terrain pieces. Now, something that's sort of come about with Deadzone over the last year is the battle zone scenery from Mantic. And if you haven't seen this stuff, it's quite impressive. It's incredibly modular, and you can do a lot of things with it. So I've got one sprue of these. These are the connector clips. So as you build it, you see you've got these slots and tabs which hook in together, and potentially you could disassemble. In reality, over a long time use, you probably want to glue just for stability, and you don't want to be scuffing your paint job and things like that. But it's a fantastic way to dry fit things, see if you like it, see if it works, even play a few games. And this scenery, you can use it in Warpath, Deadzone. The Deadzone's based on a grid system, but you could easily, with a little bit of converting, build a more organic shaped piece. It's quite useful for Warzone because there's lots of height and movement in that game. But yeah, so you get a bunch of these connector sprues, which is, handy. And then there are two of these. Ta-da. These are the connector sprues, accessory sprues. Excuse me. So these, you can actually hook various bits of them into the Deadzone scenery. For example, here you'll see these are, it's upside down, but no, can't get it in the camera. These little gantries, you can see they've got tabs here that slot in. But things like, arguably, the lamps, while they do have a connector, you could base those separately. You've got these cross bracings, some barrels. Obviously, these are slightly more explosive than these, as indicated by the triangle, presumably. And you've got a ladder, which is just always useful. So there's two of those, and you can mix and match this in with all kinds of scenery, make standalone pieces. Really quite nice. Something that's particularly nice, one of my favorite details on here is on the lamp. It's just, let me focus that now. Nope, doesn't want to focus. It's got some particularly nice detailing, and then you can see at the base there. So that's good. And then the final other part of scenery, and I got two of these: Ruin Sprue A and Ruin Sprue B, or the other way around. I don't know which one's A, which one's B. Possibly says somewhere. So now I don't actually have any of the scenery myself at the moment, but it's absolutely one of the things that I'm going to be wanting to get sometime soon. These things are awesome. These rebel piles, you kind of stick them together. So you could just standalone base that, to be honest, and then you've got flexibility. And it's all hard plastic, so real simple, easy to convert. But the ruin panels themselves, I think actually the normal panels are great, but the amount of detail on these is just fantastic. You've got these steel rebars here, you've got all kinds of sort of interesting shapes. I mean, the thing about the battle zone scenery is it's all based on these square panels like this of a set size, so you can use the same panels for walls or floors or ceiling. Well, floor ceiling is no difference. But what's really nice about these shapes is, it gives you so much more flexibility in terms of making ruined battlescapes and just nice layouts. And then a double-sided detail, of course. So you see, there's so much gone into it, and in particular, this next sprue. How awesome is that? Like something from Aliens, isn't it? You could actually probably model like a vermin breaking through it or something. That'd be kind of neat. Deck plate in there, lovely. You can see you've got these bent supports. It's really, I mean, to me, I think the normal scenery pieces look great, but But these guys, these ruin sprues are just, I don't know, I think they're really awesome and fascinating. There's so much potential with the different shapes to create kind of organic, different layouts. You know, it adds so much variety to it. And, you know, something like this, you can still put models on there. So, you know, it's not like a big hole in scenery. That is so useful in different ways because you can use it as a floor and it just breaks up any repetition, particularly, you know, if you're painting it quickly with airbrushes and things like that. So that is the last of the scenery, and then we are back on to normal models. Now, this first guy is actually quite new, so that's quite exciting. I think he's only been out a month or two. It's one of the Asterians from Deadzone, which was the most recent wave, along with the hard plastic enforcers. So this guy's hard plastic, which is very nice. This isn't an Asterian himself, it's a cipher, which, if my lore doesn't focus, if my lore is correct, is a sort of automated remote kind of drone that the Asterians control with. So it's very slender, has these interesting, these actually go up like this. So kind of like this sort of fluting at the side. Got that the wrong way around. A bit like that. So it gives them a little bit more presence than the slender body might imply. This one actually has a charge glove, so his gun is that. Focus. Close enough. So if you've seen a very awesome Nintendo GameCube game called Piano 3, put Altman's head on there, bulk her out a bit, and yeah, you got that. So I don't play Asterian's faction, but what I'm thinking of this guy also, I'd really like to put him as like a vanquished foe on the base, particularly like the hand. You know, imagine he's on the ground and the hand's reaching up like, save me, and the vermin night terrors just, you know, stepping on his back and breaking the spine. So yeah, that's going into the conversion pile. Put that down on the side. Now this next guy, he's a little bit different. He is a bit bigger than an Asterian cipher. Can you guess what it is yet? It is a Pterodon. How cool are these guys? Despite their bulk, they can teleport. Lovely connection points. Their size can be deceptive. So this is for Dreadball, and I don't have a giant's base, because this is a giant. So these are introduced with Dreadball Ultimate, and there's a tail. Goes in the back there. Usual place. Need to check my rules, but I believe giants will work for anyone. I play Orcs Marauder. My partner plays Corporation. Yeah, basically starter box. Kind of neat. Lovely detailing on the carapace and the shell. Facial detail on Pterodons is just lovely, I think. You know, they've got a real kind of cool, and I guess sort of slightly Mass Effect-y vibe going on there. Yeah, and he's actually worth £10 himself, so that's a good one to get. And next we have some more Orcs Marauders, but these ones are for Deadzone. Yeah. I'm gonna have fun trying to fit all these pieces back in the right bags later. So we have a couple guys. We have one commando. So these are for Deadzone, the bog standard rifleman. Where is his head? I apologize for the lighting conditions. There we go. pretty funky. He's got a little augmetic there. The Deadzone orcs have a slightly different visual style to the Warpath ones. Let me just dig those out. Particularly the commandos. It makes sense because they're a different force. They're sort of an elite strike team, if you will, whereas these are, well, that unit is the grunts. The, charge in, melee them. So arguably I could use him for Warpath as a, what are they called? Fraggers. Yeah, they're the ones with weapons. He actually has a rifle. There's a couple of different options here. There's this one or this one. I'm not entirely sure what the difference is. I need to double check in the rules. And then we have the Goblin Sniper. Not the one that's jumping around, but the one that is actually aiming down his gun, which is very cool. And then we have some more Deadzone / Warpath. Yeah, these guys, they don't have an official Warpath list, but there is an alpha list if you go onto Mantic blog. And I thoroughly recommend Warpath. It is an awesome game. Yeah, they've got an alpha list for version 2 of the Warpath rules. And you can use all of these models in it. Actually, a lot of the alpha list is available through the troops boosters and the support boosters. But here we have 3 plague. Now let me get this right. 3rd gen, 3As, 3rd gens. So these are the more humanoid. They haven't gone through the full transformation yet. They're still in the earlier stages. Not the ones that get turned into zombies, but the ones that are, take to the plague nicely. So these are essentially their ranged options, because they can still handle guns. Not that well, mind you, but they can handle guns. And we've got, this is actually the heavy machine gun. And then we got a couple of smaller caliber, small arms. And then we got some grabby hands. Because the plague, they like to get up close and personal, even their shooting options. That is it for Deadzone. Now, this next model is very cool. It actually took me a while to work out what it was. I wasn't sure, was it an MVP? Because I was trying to work it out in the bag at the time, and I was like, oh, where does this connect? I knew it was one of the more esoteric alien races, which meant it was DreadBall. But beyond that, it took me a while to look it up. So it's for the Zor team, and it's one of their guards. And you get like one Zor guard in the team pack, and then you get one in the booster. Now, I don't play Zor team, but I love this model. The sort of articulated legs, all this detail in the chitin. So it actually has 4 legs. So you see, you got these 2, and then you got 2 that slot in there, which would be, yes, that's a leg. Goes up like that. And there's another one. So they all go in like this. Now, then you have this body, and then they have these huge kind of, well, in fact, that's the, I'll get it right. Sorry, I did look up how this goes together. All right, there's an arm. Is that the head? No, that's the head, yeah, so that's the other arm. And that's really cool, but like I say, I don't actually have a Zor team. And as much as I would like to have one, I don't at the moment. So actually, what I'm planning on doing with this guy is doing a little experiment. So I play Epic Armageddon, which is a really good game as well. And this is just the right scale for a Tyranid tank. The Tyranid tanks are very expensive to find. They're sort of only available for particular editions of the game. And I can't afford them. So I'm thinking perhaps put the legs together. So we got this cool four-legged beastie, and then do something else on top rather than the huge body, which then just makes it look like a 28mm model. Possibly put some more claws, or see if there's, you know, cut some of these bits together and green stuff it all together so it looks funky. You know, maybe something like that. Possibly take some of the chitin off here and add that in. Alternatively, I think that is what I'm going to do as a trial, and if it works well, I'll probably buy more Zor to make the other biome monsters. Could use it as a Dark Mechanicum piece, possibly, you know, like for a Brass Scorpion or something like that. For some of the Chaos lists, you know, some of the Demon engines. I'm not sure if it's actually a bit too organic for that, though. I think these look too much like bone. But a very nice looking model, and I like the Zor. I think they're cool looking. Oh, I was wrong. My mistake. This is Deadzone as well. This is the Psychic Mercenary Trovar, aka the Tentacle Monster of Doom, or what's that race in Mass Effect? The jelly-like creatures. I can't remember what they're called. They're all based on sea monsters, so that kind of thing. Well, I say sea monsters, sea creatures. So you've got all these this is metal model, by the way, as I'm sure you've noticed. So you've got a really thick bunch of these tendrils. Let's just see if I can focus that better. There we go. Nice detail in there. That's going to wash really nicely, you know, with a nice ink, or you know, wet blending as well. That'll work there. And then you have lots of tendrils which go in here, but the sockets are actually kind of shallow, so you know, you could just have them coming down, but you know, I'm kind of thinking going for something a bit more crazy, drilling that out a bit and then angling them, you know, like in different sort of attack poses. I mean, you know, some of these look more aggressive than others. Could possibly even try bending some out a bit. I mean, it's white metal, but it's reasonably thick, so you know, you might be able to get a small extra bend in it or twist just to give it a bit more sort of 3D shape. Not that it isn't awesome as is, but yeah, I think there's definitely something where you could do quite a sort of different sort of posing style and so forth. And that is just an awesome model. Yeah, Trovar. Last but not least on the model front is one of my favourite models that Mantic makes. And I only have one of these, so I'm quite pleased to be getting a second. And that is a vehicle for the Orcs Marauders. Despite mainly being a Vermin player, I do love this model. Right, so this is the Raptor. Now, all of the Marauder models are based off the same central chassis. So you have the Raptor, and then you have the Bull. The Raptor is open-topped, which has a really nice advantage in that your assault units, while they can still be damaged through shooting and, you know, you can charge at them. So think of it like, I guess, an assault vehicle in 40k. The open-topped versions have slightly less armor. The Bull is the version that isn't open-topped, and basically it has on the back here, so this is the main body here, driver sits in there, there's his little view screen, and there's his hot rod engine. But yeah, there's a compartment back here that they go in the bull, and so you get the extra armor, but you can't charge out of it, and so forth. So it's you often want to mix. These vehicles are useful in more than just transports anyway. You can run people down and do all that kind of stuff. So there's also, this is the bull and the raptor by default are trikes, which is kind of neat. But there are quad versions, which basically quad versions give you different benefits. So like you can speed quickly, but turn less. These guys can do extra turns. We have these cool sweeping arching pipes here. Look at that. They don't care. That's all about speed and nothing else. And then on the top and the back, we have a little rocket thing. Now you can actually give them machine guns or flamethrowers instead. That's really not a hard thing to convert. Just take, you've got the weapon chassis separate. You can easily make some changes there to support the other weapon options. Again, it's the same as the special weapons for the grunts. It's difficult trying to do this through the screen. You can have the anti-tank weapon, flamethrower, machine gun. I actually think the anti-tank weapon, which is the default one here, is actually more suitable to this. Yeah, take him off, man. Oh, and also, where's he gone? A gunner. So he goes in the back. Like so. He's mean. Might get a bit of recoil trying to hold the gun like that. And then, let's see if I can remember how this goes together. It's been a while since I stuck my other one. Yep, so that goes on like that. That goes on like that. And then, small wheel. I'm sorry this is going in and out of focus, but it's difficult to change focus when you're trying to use two hands to assemble something. See, it goes together real nice. And this is all hard plastic. Use your imagination. Like that. Pretty cool, huh? So I was really pleased to get another one of these. I just love this this sort of muscle car, souped up, over the top, probably non-functional, but looks awesome. And all the different variations on the chassis look good. And so that's it for the models. There was also a Warpath poster. There we go. Yay for manual focus. So that's the cover of the Fate of the Forge Star box. So all in all, came to £25, and I costed up all the different bits and pieces, and it came to 60, or £60, like 40 pence something. So quite a good saving. I'm quite pleased with that, I have to say. Yeah, so if you are thinking about getting a Mantic Crazy Box, I would recommend it. They're not always the same things in every box. It looks like there's, you saw that one was SF2. It looks like there's about 4 different variants, and you get slightly different things, which is cool. And if you so you can buy multiple crazy boxes and get slightly different bits, which is just kind of neat. And also, like some of these things, like the Plague 3rd Gems. If you had if you had 6 of them, again, like with everything else in Warpath, they're fielded in 5s, so that'd be super useful. Use them for Deadzone, and you got the start of your Warpath army, which is a great game. Drovar.